Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm Steve Hood, this is Chris Pajak over at the board. We've got Dan Club. It's the uncensored match build-up ahead of Arsenal versus Liverpool in the FA Cup third round. Hope all is well wherever you are. We'll be bringing you the official team news and reaction to it when it's announced. How's it going, Chris? You looking forward to this one?
Yes. I'm still a little bit annoyed that we got Arsenal away in the Cup in the third round, to be honest with you. There's been loads of Premier League clashes, hasn't there, in the third round so far, but it is just gutting, to be honest with you. But it's just one of those games, isn't it, whereby I feel like it's not a priority at the moment for Liverpool, is it? Obviously, the Carabao Cup looming probably takes precedence over the FA Cup third round, and it's one of them where Arsenal coming off the back of a couple of losses. I was on the radio this morning, actually, with an Arsenal fan for BBC 5 Live. What I found really interesting, Laura, what she'd said was, she got asked the question outright, if they lose this game, are people going to be questioning Mikel Arteta? And to be fair to her, she said yes, because we're the most reactionary fan base around. And I couldn't believe me ears when she said it, and because I was thinking, yeah, because you're the most reactionary fan base around, and she said it, and I was like, whoa, fair play, like.
I suppose I've been calling this a couple of days with mates and stuff, so I've just called it Operation Don't Draw.
Yes.
Like Operation Do Not Draw and anything. Win the game or lose the game, be arse drawn it. I know other people will feel differently, but
you almost feel like that with every round of the FA Cup, don't you?
It's great. The replay thing's mad for us, especially two Premier League teams. I bet if you said beforehand, you should just offer both teams the chance. Do you want to replay or do you fancy penalties after it straight away? And I bet you both managers would have shut their hands on pens, but we're not getting there. It's by all accounts though, there's been all week. I mean, I done the build-up show the other day, Chris, and we were talking about like potential team news, and Conor Bradley's name got mentioned, Kate Gordon's name, McConnell, we had Chambers. It looks like, given the squad that Jürgen's picked and how he spoke at his press conference, and we'll hear a clip from him in a minute, it looks like he's going all guns blazing. It looks like he's going to pick a proper team.
Yeah, he doesn't really have much choice, does he? I think when we were doing the podcast earlier in the week, we were talking about this game as well, and the thinking for me at the time was like, it's not the B team, it's the A team, if that makes any sense whatsoever, like, you know what I mean? It's like just those sorts of squad players that maybe need a few minutes and stuff, but from the rumoured teams, it is really just everyone who's left. And it kind of makes sense because he never has completely disrespected this competition. And also you have got that Carabao Cup game looming, so you do want sort of people who are playing into form and stuff, and obviously with Mo and Endo going, it kind of limits your options anyway, doesn't it?
And he also said, like, it's been 6 days since the last game, and he said that if I rest the people till Wednesday, he mentioned rhythm, and he said especially if I rest them until Bournemouth, he said like that could be weeks and weeks. He wants to keep players taking over. I think the Monday to Sunday gap between the games, if this was like the Everton fixture where they got Thursday night, I bet if Liverpool had played Thursday, it might have been a bit of a weaker team. But
absolutely,
given the gap,
you're absolutely spot on. The one player that sort of highlights that more than ever, and again, me and Dan were talking about this, and I think me and Dan both went, yeah, just throw Keller in. But when you think about it, it would be like 3 weeks between games for Alisson. And so it kind of makes sense to throw Alisson in for the same thing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. We'll go to the board with Dan in a second. Before we do, let's hear from Jürgen Klopp. Speaking at his press conference, he announced a couple of bits of injury news, rather, and of course, a little bit about Mo Salah and Endo both going away on international duty.
Jürgen, good morning. How is this squad in terms of fitness? Do you have an update yet on Dominic Szoboszlai's potential injury?
Yeah, I can confirm it's not a potential injury. It is an injury. Yeah. Muscle, hamstring. But now we have to see. Dom is very positive. Doesn't have a lot of pain, but we have to wait a little bit. So no chance, obviously, for Sunday. Not for what is it then? Wednesday. Yeah. No, and then we will see after that. Hopefully, he might be back, but we don't know. Besides that, nothing else really happened. The rest was yesterday available and fully fit. So let's hope that's today the same, and then we will have to make a choice.
Obviously, Mo Salah and Tyrone Endo are now off and away for their respective national teams. What were your parting words to both of them?
I said, if I wish you good luck, it would be a lie. Not what I do, obviously, but from a personal point of view, I would be overly happy if they go out after group stage, but it's probably not possible. So it's fine, and then they can go and win it as well. So, good luck. See you, and come back healthy. That's pretty much the words. And that.
Yeah, so there you have it. One guy we know definitely won't be playing, well, at least 3 actually. Szoboszlai injury could be out until at least the Bournemouth game, and hopefully that's when he's back. Maybe longer. Jürgen wasn't too sure when he'll be back, and obviously Endo and Salah on international duty. And I think we all echo the sentiments of Jürgen when we say, I really, really hope that both teams get knocked out very, very early. But he said he kind of can't say that, but he kind of can. I remember it was a while ago, celebrating, and I felt awful at the time. I think Senegal got knocked out, and it meant Mane came home and he played against Chelsea a few days later. And I remember actively celebrating when they got beat, and then I felt really hard because he was crying on the pitch.
He won it the next time.
Yeah, he was fine.
He was fine.
Mo can win it when he's playing in Saudi.
Sure, he's got a chance, has he, Mo, really?
I don't know. My thing with
Endo's got more of a chance of getting to the final than Mo.
Yeah.
Do you want me new hashtag Endo Ballon d'Or?
Okay.
Wins the quad with Liverpool.
Did you say yes then? I didn't say yes.
Wins.
I just got given it. He asked me if I wanted it, and he
the
just gave
Ballon
it
d'Or
me.
thing?
I just told him what it was.
No,
I'm not sure. I haven't quite worked the kinks out yet, but it's Jorginho got in the top 5 of the Ballon d'Or that time when Chelsea won the Champions League and Italy won the Euros. If Endo captains Japan to the Asia Cup and Liverpool win the Premier League and Liverpool win a cup or two, get him in there. I want Endo in the Ballon d'Or top 5. That's what I'm going for.
That's absolutely fine.
If Jorginho can do it, why can't Endo?
Do not have an answer to that.
You've always said that as well.
Honestly,
It's always been your tagline.
Honestly, that Jorginho, I can't. It keeps me awake at night. It's up there with Luka Modric winning it that time. It absolutely drives me insane. Anyway, we just had a glimpse from Dan over at the board. Dan, the official team news isn't out yet. We're expecting it in about 10 minutes' time. We've had a couple of rumours from various sources, and you've had half a go at guessing what the team's going to be. So, looking at that board behind you, where Aaron Van Dijk might be ill, we'll get that confirmed later. The interesting one there, mate, is Harvey Elliott playing on the right with Cody Gakpo, playing as like more of a number 8 role. How would you see that dynamic going on that right-hand side?
Yeah, that is probably the interesting one. That is potentially the talking point. I think it's a stronger team than we all expected. I'm with you guys in terms of, I think the schedule easing has made that the case for Jurgen Klopp. It's almost a no-brainer for him to go stronger than he maybe would have liked to had it been a little bit busier potentially. But yeah, this is probably the talking point. I think in an ideal world, Szoboszlai would have been available, obviously, and that might have made that a bit different. But as it is, that's just the way I can see it being. I think Gakpo in midfield never truly worked. We've seen it a few times this season. He's a type of player that does a job in there. He's a victim of his own versatility in that sense. I don't think you get the best out of him. But this is another example of Jurgen Klopp using Gakpo's versatility and using it relatively wisely. But in terms of the setup and the dynamic of what he's got at his disposal to play on the right wing, it just kind of has to be Harvey Elliott for me. He did it against West Ham relatively successfully recently. I thought he did a brilliant job actually out there, to be honest. So yeah, he's the one I can see going. I don't think Darwin Núñez is the perfect fit. I don't think Luis Diaz is an ideal fit whatsoever out there either. Cody Gakpo likewise, and we've already seen Gakpo transform from a left winger to a bit of a false 9, now to a midfielder. Can we really put him out on the right wing? I'm not entirely sure. I don't really love Diogo Jota out there either, to be honest. There is no perfect answer to replacing Mohamed Salah in this Liverpool squad. I actually think Harvey Elliott is as close as it comes, and definitely when you line up with those 4 attacking options.
I suppose, Chris, we'll come back to it in a moment. We had a comment actually. I get it up now. Could this be Chris's favourite, the Al 4-2-3-1?
Oh, you know what? I didn't think it straight away.
You love
a discussion of the 4-2-3-1.
You love a 4-2-3-1.
Playing in the attacking midfielder role with McAllister and Jones kind of makes sense. I mean, I think there, if you go over to the board there, I think you can see it's probably a little bit too cramped in the middle of the park.
Dan, what's happening there?
He's got the
I'm parking the bus.
Jesus, left, like we're going in the
I like to
Emirates.
fit in the gap.
No, compact. Rafa Benitez in charge of the Liverpool side here.
Get through that. Something like that though.
It looks like a Star Wars spaceship from top to bottom.
I agree with everything that Dan kind of said there about actually, Elliott being a good fit. I thought against West Ham he was brilliant. Dan mentioned that and stuff. But the thing for me is that I don't mind Jota out there, and I am actually quite surprised Jota's not playing because he needs minutes ultimately. But then is this an opportunity for Elliott to go, well, here you go, mate. Go and put a marker down and prove that you deserve it while Mo's away. Yeah. And that seems to be, if that is the tie, I think that seems to be the school of thought that Jürgen will have gone in with. You
mentioned before, actually, we were talking about rhythm and stuff, and I had a conversation on the other build-up show, on the preview show with Sam and Andy, and I said, like, whoever's going to be playing right wing in the Premier League, wouldn't half-man them to play today, play them in midweek and get them ready because they're going to have to be there for a month. Whoever it is, because Mo Salah's been the constant. He's played more outfield minutes than anybody. He's played more minutes than them all.
Even Alisson, yeah.
Him and Alisson are the two. Whoever's got to do it has got to build some rhythm up. So does this suggest maybe Harvey Elliott's now been going, right, Harvey, how's your chance? You're going to be the right winger for the foreseeable, especially because Soboslai's got this hamstring.
I think so, yeah. I think if he does play him out there, obviously we don't know quite yet, do we? But it kind of makes sense to me. And, Cody Gakpo playing inside of him there, again, I'm sort of with Dan. I've never really been completely enamoured with Cody there, but he can go round the outside of Harvey Elliott. He could probably link up quite well and stuff like that. He is a clever footballer. I must admit, if that is the side, though, if Arsenal go full strength, they've got to be thinking, this is our side to win.
Yeah, they'd be favourites, you think. Liverpool have got a couple of changes, but still, what the good thing is, it's not a team that's going to get battered. It's not like you're putting the kids out there, because that's what I was thinking the other day, is that if we had got Shrewsbury at home again, you could have sent to Conor Bradley and Kay Gordon, have a go. I don't think Jürgen, having seen what happened to a couple of them when we played Union, what was effectively a dead rubber, and it was a tough game for them with those young kids, I wonder if he thought we don't want to get them, we don't want to kill them. I always go back to Billy Cometio in that Leicester game. He hasn't played since. He got Jamie Vardy and Daka tore him a new one for a half, and that was it.
Yeah,
and that's what you've got to worry about. If you send Conor Bradley or Chambers or McConnell and Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard just run rings around them, you can really damage them. You've got to look after those young kids as well.
Ultimately,
this side, this rumoured side, I should say, is a testament to how good our squad is, because we're whinging about Cody Gakpo and Harvey Elliott and Diaz and Nunes and stuff like that. They're all first team players, you know what I mean? And that's it. Like in years gone by, this would have been filled with kids who weren't good enough. And I think that's where it comes down to with the McConnells and the Bradleys and all that type of stuff. They're just not quite ready to make that leap yet. Not against an Arsenal side. I do think we'd have seen them if it was another side in the Cup. Maybe a sprinkling of youngsters or something like that. But we're going into Arsenal. We've got 7,600 fans down there. You want to go out there, put a performance in and make it difficult for Arsenal. Try and put a side out that can win the game, of course. Try and get players into rhythm, like Harvey Elliott playing on that right-hand side, of course. And try and sneak something with some of your top players as well.
As John Lee David Blackshaw says, this is part one of this season's quad. I mean, it's probably part four. It's the last, to be honest with you, John, if we're being pedantic about it, we've played in other competitions, but I get your point. Dan, what's interesting when Liverpool often make changes, and you look at a bench, you think, well, if it's half changed on the team, the bench might have nobody on it. But looking at that bench behind you, there's a lot of youth on it, but there's also Ryan Gravenberch, there's also Diogo Jota as well. It does feel like there's a little bit more left in the tank than just kids. At least there's a couple of options you can change the game if you need them to.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more. It is very youthful still. I think Bobby Clark's probably the exception to that. Although we've hardly seen him play this year, he is one who's probably ahead of some of those in terms of their development. It's just injuries that have kind of curtailed seeing him, certainly in the Europa League. But I think as Chris alluded to there, we haven't even mentioned Joel Quantum in this conversation. That's a testament to how brilliant he's been at times this season. But this shows you today the squad that we have managed to build, because there were times last season whereby we couldn't even put even close to a side or a team out like this in these type of fixtures. So we've gone a long way since then. The rebuild's been pretty successful, I think it's fair to say. But I also think Jurgen Klopp naming such a strong side today, it speaks a lot to the lack of minutes some of our lads have had. I think compared to the Arsenals and Manchester Cities of this world, that's where the Europa League has been a blessing for us really, because some of these lads aren't running on empty anymore. We've been able to rest and rotate them as the season's gone on. The squad management's been going on throughout. It's not just all of a sudden now we've got lads running on empty and you need to get them out the side. There's actually lads here for the most part that could do with the minutes. I think Curtis Jones falls into that category, perhaps even Darwin Núñez, certainly Harvey Elliott. So we're looking at lads getting them up to speed as opposed to giving them breaks. So that's massively important. But yeah, in terms of the bench, as I say, quite a few youngsters. Kay Gordon started a game here not so long ago as well, so he's another one that could potentially have a say off the bench. But yeah, you're looking at Diogo Jota and Ryan Gravenberch in particular, aren't you?
Absolutely, mate. And I suppose the Jota one's interesting, Kiss, because I thought, if you'd have asked me beforehand, and we'll find out what the team is in a bit, but from what we're hearing, he might not be starting Jota. I thought he was the nailed-on one. I thought there was going to be Jota plus two others, given he hasn't played for ages, and you're right before. He's always got a good record against Arsenal, and he definitely needs to play. He's been a couple of sub-appearances here and there, Are you quite surprised if that team is correct that Jota's on the bench?
Yeah, I honestly thought going into this game that Jota would be the option for the right-hand side over Harvey Elliott, because I thought Soboslai's injury meant that Harvey Elliott would play on the inside and in the midfield, and that would leave a role for Diogo Jota, who has played on that right-hand side probably more than any player, including Harvey Elliott, in the Liverpool team right now. So, I like the way he comes in off that right-hand side. You know, we scored a goal the other day where he plays a little 1-2 with, I think it was Mo Salah, and then we end up scoring from it. You know, he is used to doing that, and he's so two-footed as well, Diogo, that I just thought it was natural that he might be the one, because one of the things that you are replacing with Mo Salah from the right is goals, and one thing that Jota's been able to get consistently when he's played on the wing, albeit ordinarily on the left-hand side, is goals from those wide positions. So nothing really changes there if you do throw Diogo in there. You get to play the left-hand side with a Diaz or a Nunes or a Diaz or a Gakpo in a similar vein. If you start moving Diaz around, you're changing all three positions essentially, aren't you? Or at least the network between those three positions. You're doing exactly the same if you start throwing Cody Gakpo over there. If it's Elliott or Jota, it makes sense. The left-hand side and the centre stay the same. So I am surprised that Diogo's not there. I am surprised that Gravenberch isn't starting as well, to be honest with you. I thought Kurt Jones might be the favoured player, and in that case, maybe throw Gravenberch into this one and then keep Kurt for the Fulham game.
He hasn't played a lot of minutes, Kurt, that's the problem. He's probably got the in his legs. The interesting one that I'll come back to is Darwin up front, because against Arsenal in the league, Darwin was on the bench. It was Cody Gakpo down in the middle. And I think one of the things Liverpool found with Gabriel and Saliba was that they're quite comfortable with everything in front of them. They're quite happy to have everything there. What you want to do to those two is turn them, get behind them. If they're going to play that high line, and you've got that team behind, you've got McAllister now. We saw the ball he played to Jota the other day. Do you think Jurgen's had a little think there and going, you know what, we didn't get behind them, we didn't turn them nearly enough, those two. They both played really well, and it was quite comfortable for both of them. At least with Darwin, and listen, he is a bit unpredictable, we say it all the time, but one thing you can say is that he can play on the shoulder, and he wants to go that way. He wants to get them on the half turn rather than Gakpo, he wants it into feet. It feels like that could be the thinking behind that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And he played that hand quite late on, didn't he, in that game? He went to Nunes off the bench as if he was going to make that impact, getting him behind. Never quite worked out that way, I think it's fair to say. There's a couple of moments whereby you thought he might have a sniffer off the shoulder, but it never really materialised. But yeah, I think it's probably a little bit of that, looking at how the game went at Anfield. But I also think it might be a bit of an idea as to how the balance of play going to go, because Liverpool not dictated the play at Anfield, but we had a lot of possession. It might just flip on its head ever so slightly with it being at the Emirates, and with them potentially being ever so slightly stronger than us in certain areas. So us not having the ball and having to play on the counter that little bit more also suits Darwin Núñez's pace and effectiveness in behind. So interesting one. Interesting, obviously, he starts down the middle as well, leading the line forwards. I think it's a big day for Darwin. We've seen him in fits and starts this season. He does remain very much an enigma. But it's these type of games, when your main man, Mohamed Salah's away, when you need somebody to step up to the plate, can Darwin Núñez be that guy? And I would love him to be so personally, but especially when you're going away in a cup tie like this that's sort of fraught with danger, and we're all going in a little bit pessimistic, if Darwin Núñez can step up and do the business, that's a massive step in the right direction for him.
It's the type of game where you can just imagine Darwin getting a brace in about 2 minutes or something from absolutely nowhere, isn't it? Or missing 1,000 chances. Is there any VAR today?
I don't know, I don't think
there
so.
Will be.
There might be. They only do it in the grounds, don't they? Okay, lower down and just not bothering with it.
I think some Premier League. Well, am I right in saying the other day there wasn't any in the game I was watching yesterday where they definitely didn't have VAR?
Was it not on a Premier League ground? Was it Middlesbrough Villa?
No, it was Sunderland and they weren't Premier League, that'll be why. I was watching Sunderland Newcastle and they definitely didn't have it. Yeah, but whether that's a good thing or not, I might not do many favours with the offsides, perhaps, who knows. Going back to the midfield thing, Chris, very quickly, because we're waiting for the team news to come out. Ali Mack back in the six is massive. Obviously, we've just lost Endo rather to go and hunt for his Ballon d'Or kick-off the season. Ali Mack back in the six. We saw glimpses of what he could do the other day, you know, with the ball to Jota, as what Alexis McAllister's really good at.
No one was talking about that because of the bloody goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's a shame really, and Jota falling over, but it's a different role. Endo's been really good, I think we'd all agree. I wouldn't say there's pressure on McAllister, but he's a different player. He is not the same type of player as Endo. We are going to see a difference there, and it's interesting to see how
I think it's a very tough game for McAllister to come back to more than anything. Yeah, I think when you think of, you know, him, you know, the start of the season, I think no one was particularly enamoured with his performances in the six. You know, I've said a few times there that I truly believe that McAllister got to a point where he was playing really well last sort of 3 or 4 games before he picks up the injury and stuff, and then obviously picks up that injury. Endo comes in, gets better and better and better, and probably, I'll be honest, I think Endo's performed that 6 role better than McAllister consistently for a number of games. So right now he might be the second choice 6 in the squad with an opportunity to make himself that first choice again. Obviously, I think he's got a higher ceiling than Endo. I do think his defensive work is underrated, but as a first game back in, it could be very, very difficult because you play a bad game here and then all of a sudden everybody's questioning you for the rest of January when there's no Endo in the squad. So it is very, very difficult. We're just having word now that the team is out as well. So I'm going to pull that up on Twitter as we go. Do you want me to go through it, Dan, or have you got it there, mate?
Go through it forward, mate.
Okay, so we've got Alisson Becker in goal. We've got Joe Gomez. We've got Kanate.
Yeah.
We've got Trent Alexander-Arnold and Kwanzaa, so that is the back 4.
Yeah.
We've got McAllister, we've got Jones, we've got Gakpo, we've got Elliott, Diaz and Nunes, so the starting 11 is right. And in terms of substitutes, we've got Kelleher, Jota, Gravenberch, Clark, Chambers, can't see who that is. Gordon, McConnell, Bradley, and Omi.
A little 16-year-old Trent Johnny getting himself on the bench as well.
No Callum Scanlon there, sorry.
No.
Didn't think so. Cool. Boss.
We've got Unyoni on there.
Yes, I got him, yeah.
I mean, we've got how we've got that sort of look, aren't we? Brilliant. It is a very young bench with 2 lads on it, Chris. It does feel like, you know, you talk about resting players and saving legs and stuff. It's going to be hard for Jürgen to do too much of that, really, with that bench. You know, Jota will get on and Gravenberch will get on, and the rest of it is like, it's up for debate. Like Bobby Clark, potentially, because we know like Jürgen thinks highly of him, but it looks like Jota and Gravenberch are babysitting that bench. You know, there's a little bit. I mean, the team's good, and that team's good enough to beat Arsenal. We'll go through their team in a moment, but the bench is a little bit young.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, obviously, I think you're probably going to need to change out McAllister at some point. So I think obviously McConnell's going to be coming into that unless you drop Jones back if you may be chasing the game or something like that, and then maybe throw a Gravenberch in there or something like that. It maybe is an option for you, but you can't imagine that McAllister's going to play 90 in this one. Obviously there's no one to back him up if he does pick up an injury or he overstrains himself in any way, shape or form over the course of this game. So that is someone where you think, well, McConnell's kind of got to come in or Jones drops back. Other than that, you're right, obviously it's Gravenberch and Jota. It kind of feels like one of those games where you throw 2 goalkeepers on the bench, so I'm glad he never did that either, to be honest with you.
Just launched the kid on there instead. We bring the Arsenal team as well then, so they've changed in goal, of course. Adam Ramsdale comes back in as the cup goalkeeper. Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel and Kivor, that is pretty much their strongest back 4 available at the moment. Given the injuries and stuff they've got there. They've got a midfield 3 of Rice, Jorginho and Odegaard, Saka, Nelson and Havertz. So it's Martinelli drops to the bench. Gabriel Jesus is injured. He's got a knee issue. We'll come back to it. Their bench is similar though. Smith Rowe's on it. Trossard, Martinelli and Ketty. It's a little bit stronger than Liverpool's, but a couple of kids as well. But again, it feels like both teams have made a couple of changes, but also Arsenal feel just a little touch that they've a little bit stronger than us. Albeit it'll be interesting that Kai Havertz has been playing in midfield all season. Looks like he's now going back into their front three.
I mean it's debatable whether it's stronger than us, to be honest with you. I mean, they've gone with their second choice goalkeeper. We've gone with our first.
Yes,
they've got
fair point.
Kiwo at the back. Go ahead.
He's had a stinker recently.
Yeah, obviously, you know, Tommy Asu's not available and stuff like that. Jorginho's dropped back into the side, obviously isn't a starter. Havertz playing in that position. Nelson coming back into the side and stuff. So it's a good side, but I wouldn't say it was any stronger than ours.
No, I tend to agree, mate. Yeah, I would go along with that. Kivor is the interesting one, and I'll come over to you because he got hooked against Fulham. He was stinky. Yep. Tommy Asu's gone away, obviously, Asia Cup due to Zinchenko's had the injury. That's why he's not playing. So they're down to their third choice left back. So it's interesting that if it is Harvey Elliott, and we don't know, we'll find out what Liverpool do on that right hand side. That's a battle. What Kivor's got. He's big and he's physical. But also, if you're Harvey Elliott, you're thinking that's maybe the little chink in the armour. If you want to stay away from the White, Gabriel, Saliba stuff, then Kivor's the option for Harvey Elliott to go at.
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, and not just Harvey Elliott as well. I think this triangle in particular, this area of the pitch has been so integral for Liverpool for a couple of seasons now. It's predominantly obviously been Trent, Szoboszlai, Mohamed Salah this season. But I think Trent, Cody Gakpo and Harvey Elliott can have just as much joy over there. There's enough intelligence, there's enough football now, there's enough creativity within those 3 in particular to really cause Kyrgios and indeed whoever plays alongside him a lot of headaches this afternoon. So that lineup, or those 2 lineups, actually really heightened my excitement for this game, because all of a sudden I'm looking at it thinking, I really fancy us today. I did anyway, but now especially. But you're right, I think this area of the pitch in particular is one where Liverpool will be looking to have a lot of joy, and Harvey Elliott will fancy his chances. Not so much if the ball's pinged over to him 6 foot in the air, he's going to lose that battle more often than not, but get it on the deck, get it in and around Gakpo, Elliott and Trent, and I think that's an area Liverpool could have a little bit of joy.
And just to clarify as well, Van Dijk, a few people asking in the comments saying, where's Van Dijk? Just, he's ill. Jurgen Klopp has confirmed he's a bit ill, so he's under the weather and travel down, which is fair enough. Keep him wrapped in cotton wool for Wednesday and beyond, so that's why Virgil hasn't started. Their front three is interesting because they've really struggled for goals recently. Arsenal, obviously Saka got the one early against Fulham, but they have, for the most part, they found it difficult to break West Ham down. They found it really difficult against Fulham, found it difficult against us. If truth be told, he scored off a set piece. He's made the changes, one's enforced and one's by choice. The Havertz as a forward option, I don't know, they've been playing him in midfield recently. It's interesting that he's the one who's been actually go up there. I'm not sure if you have Havertz thinking, I'm just about nailing a place down here. Now you're asking me that's what Chelsea did 2 minutes, the balls and me up. So
well, they had to do it at the start of the season as well.
There was a 9.
Havertz is the 9 and stuff like that. And it felt like, you know, the Arsenal fans were a bit like, what the fuck? And Chelsea fans were like, I told you. And then if she plays in the midfield, you have that little bit more balance with him in there. It looks like it's 2 attacking with Rice, Odegaard and Havertz, and yet it seems to work. They dominate the ball, very clever player. And similar in many ways to Cody Gakpo, maybe doesn't get as many goals as you'd probably like when he plays up front, but links the play really well and stuff. And it's how you view Kai Havertz, isn't it? Because, you know, he's not an out-and-out number 9, but he is somebody who can hold the ball in tight areas, really clever, look to play other players in. If he's got Saka on the outside of him, or Nelson, as it will be today as well, you know, looking for teams to play off him. He's also maybe going to be dropping in as an extra body in midfield at times to give them a little bit of a numerical advantage, especially that might be true if Liverpool are playing, you know, box midfield. I know we've not seen quite as much of it recently, but if you're all of a sudden both teams have 4 in there, but we have the ability for your striker to drop in and give you an extra body, that might be some of the thinking that Mikel Arteta's got as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, on the midfield very quickly, we'll start wrapping up shortly, but they've gone Rice, Jorginho, Odegaard. Chris just mentioned it, it's been Havertz really, it's been a different style. It'd be interesting to see what he asks Rice and Jorginho to do there. Is it a 2 and a 1? Because they've very much been, Declan Rice has been firefighting, Odegaard's been the playmaker, and then you've seen Kai Havertz trying to join the attack. Jorginho's not joining any attacks really. I mean, he might be he sits and Rice goes, but it's a completely different dynamic in the midfield battle than it was in the league game just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, I think on paper that definitely looks like a 2 and a 1 with Jorginho and Rice obviously as the holders, but I think if you're going to ask one of them to be that more advanced guy who's going to get a bit more box to box, that would of course be Declan Rice. But that midfield battle is what really intrigues me about this game now, and albeit that's not Liverpool's first choice midfield, certainly not with the inclusion of Cody Gakpo, obviously a forward by trade, I think that's got legs. And although the Arsenal midfield has that with Declan Rice, he's played a lot of footy recently. Martin Odegaard's a brilliant footballer, wonderful to watch with the ball at his feet, not necessarily the one who's going to be the box to box guy. And Jorginho, albeit we haven't seen loads of him this season, his legs are a lot like they were in that a couple of seasons ago, let alone now. So really interesting battle there. One, Liverpool will fancy their chances of winning, and I think if we do that, it goes a long way to winning the game, obviously. But yeah, I think if Arsenal are going to look to get one of them more advanced, it will obviously be Declan Rice with Jorginho doing the firefighting.
Absolutely, I think you're right, mate. We'll get the score positions of the guys in a moment. First, Rabadán with the Super Chat. Thanks very much, pal. So I think Arsenal will go 1-0 up, but the game will end 4-1 to the Liverpool. That'd be quite the comeback. If that
I will take that right now.
Absolutely, bite your hand off for that, pal. Thank you very much indeed. Before I get your prediction, because very, very quickly, Ramsdale in goal. It's important to put pressure on him. He's gone from being a title challenging number 1 goalkeeper to being on the bench and almost becoming a bit of a laughing stock, which is a bit harsh. He's not that bad, but also David Raya's come in, and although Arteta said, I'm going to rotate me, he hasn't rotated his goalies. Ramsdale's the cup goalie now. We saw when we brought our cup goalie in, other teams maybe target that a little bit more. I think Liverpool really that could be something they play on. In that, I don't think they did it enough when they got Onana in their side at Anfield. Probably didn't do it enough the other week when David Raya come in, but you'd want them to be testing Aaron Ramsdale as often and early as possible.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously, in recent weeks, we've seen Liverpool take more shots from outside the area than normal, but looking at the two advanced eights, Jones and Gakpo, they're not your type of guys who shoot from massive distance. Obviously, Szoboszlai loves to shoot from 30 yards. Jones doesn't mind a shot from distance, don't get me wrong. McAllister loves a shot from distance, we know that. So it might be down to that, or you might just try and put pressure on him from corners and, you know, stuff like that, get bodies around him. But ultimately, this is a problem of Arteta's own making. He's the person who's decided to do this. He was absolutely fine with Aaron Ramsdale as his goalkeeper, wasn't he? So I've got no sympathy whatsoever for Arsenal or Aaron Ramsdale. Shoot on sight and score goals.
Absolutely. I think it's a message well heeded if the Reds do that. Right then, Dan, I'll come over to you first, mate. Score prediction, and you've seen our team, you've seen their team. How you think this one is going to go in? Operation, please don't draw.
Yeah, no draws today, please. 3-1 the Reds, Cody Gakpo to get on the score sheets.
3-1, interesting.
1-1.
I said 1-1 as well.
Oh.
Honestly, I want Alisson up for corners if it's 1-1.
Sorry.
Honestly, remember Alisson's goal? He's the only Premier League goalie to win a game because you don't usually send a goal when we draw. And if it's 1-1, I want Alisson up. Be arsed, like we either win this or we lose this. We're not doing either or. But yeah, two very evenly matched teams. We've saw that a couple of times down the weeks and years rather the Arsenal.
You going 1-1 as well?
I think 1-1, yeah.
Get him that in it.
Yeah, with that. That's another watch along.
Would you rather lose than draw?
I don't really want to say that, but yeah, probably.
I wouldn't.
It depends on how we draw. If we're winning and get pegged back, that's a ball.
When would the replay be? Does anyone know?
The week before the Bournemouth game, so their break gets cut short, a little bit shorter, the time off. Not the end of the world. No, I don't know. I can't say that.
It happened with Shrewsbury, didn't it? Do you remember when Klopp and that didn't turn up?
Yeah.
We had to play Shrewsbury again.
They're aware of it this time, I think. They're more aware of it because I think Liverpool's holiday, they play Fulham and then they're all having a week off, hopefully, if they can. But I think they've been given like 5 days off rather than a full week. But yeah, I don't know, mate. Would you rather draw?
I can't, no. I'd rather draw than lose.
Yeah, I think I would too. I can't sit here and want Liverpool to lose ever. I could never say that to myself. But if it happens, I'd be pissed off. I think that's fair. It depends though. If you're getting beaten in the 89th minute and equalise, then yeah, it's sound. If it's the other way around, then you...
Yeah, fuming.
And it's 50 quid extra out the ticket money that you want to pay for to go and watch the Reds, I suppose. But get to go and watch the Reds, so that's always a bonus indeed. It might help us that we get another watch along. More super chats than that. I don't know, maybe that's how it works. It'll be made up if you get extra pay. Right, thanks very much for joining us for the Uncensored Match Build-Up. Do come back in about half an hour's time. We'll be live with the watch along. So yeah, thanks from me, thanks from Chris, thanks from Dan, and yeah, we'll see you all in half an hour. Take care. Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a Legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, Legend tier status.